Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't take the test. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. It's a Tuesday edition of the program, so we'll get things rolling as usual. The playbook for today is talking Alabama sports. Got several topics we'll rinse and repeat on, get DC's thoughts on some things we got from Kennington on yesterday, but we'll add deal, no deal to the conversation. Hadn't done that in a while, deal, no deal. And the question on the deal, no deal for today, the deal, no deal question of the day, a little different. Let me see what you think about this. If you can end the early entrance to the NFL, juniors can't leave early, but you can't limit the number of transfers. Would you take that deal? In other words, they give you a little something that keeps older players potentially.
Well, we might have lost Martin there. X, are you here?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Not really sure what the topic's going to be, but we do have DC with us today, right?
Yeah, DC's here. DC, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I'm here today. I could hear Martin, and it was coming in and out, and I couldn't make out what he was saying. But good morning, X. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Glad to be on this morning.
Oh yeah, always good to talk. Not sure what the topics that he wants to get into, but outside of the deal or no deal. But I guess we can go ahead and kind of tiptoe into that and test the waters. So I was wanting to talk about the deal or no deal. If juniors can't leave early, if underclassmen can't leave early, but you can't limit the transfers. Is that something that you'd be okay with?
Not really. I don't. I would say no deal on that for me personally, because I think the way that it works better is to, if a person is able to go on to the NFL and make their money now, I don't want to restrict that. Do it after they've completed their junior year.
Oh man!
Or at least that time frame that we got, like the rule we got going now. I think the rule that is.
Did y'all go ahead and go into that deal no deal question? I apologize that I lost. I didn't want to get into that right off. I want people to have a chance to think on that a little bit. So I apologize for that. So where y'all at? I got disconnected. Didn't realize it.
We just tapped into it, didn't get into it that deep.
Yeah, because I want to give always, anytime I have a question like that, I want to give the audience a chance to respond before they get our response. So we'll circle back on that. as a point of conversation. So apologize to the listeners and viewers um, for this crazy thing. I took it up on myself yesterday. I'm having to invest in a totally separate, even though I have internet in my home, I'm having to go out and buy another whole new set of internet because I'm sick and tired of Spectrum, but I can't get anything else in my house. But I have found another way around it. So hopefully we won't have this issue in about a week. I apologize to all of you, apologize to you, DC and X, but we'll get it fixed. There's a few other things that we start our program off. We always start our program off before we get into the conversation, uh, remembering that this is the day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We've had a few more people join on the live stream. So if you just joined, got a deal, no deal question of the day. If you can end the early entrance to the NFL as a coach, as a fan, they can't go to the league early, but you have to deal with the current transfer portal, multiple transfers, no limits on transfers, but you could keep the players in the league. I mean, on in college, would you take it? Would you take it? Uh, that's going to be that question. But then the other things we have, of course, um on the program is around the SEC, around the capstone, I should say, DC. So I'm going to get your thoughts on quickly on Bama baseball, softball. So be prepared for that. Then we'll look at coaches on the hot seat, who may be on the hot seat, who's the top coaches now that Nick Saban has left. Is the SEC wide open? Um, in terms of Saban has left. There's 32 coordinator positions if you just take one coordinator per team. There's 32 positions. 20 plus of those are new people. Let that sink in. Only 11 guys, if you count the head coach at Vanderbilt, are returning as a coordinator. The other positions are new. I think there was 10 teams that have some version of co-coordinator, like Alabama has co-defensive coordinator. So we'll have all those conversations as we move throughout the program. And once again, reminding you the deal, no deal question of the day is if you can end the early entrance to the NFL, but can't limit the transfer portal, what what would you do? What would you do? So good morning, DC X. I appreciate you guys stepping in there in that technical um, um, craziness of Spectrum. I definitely won't be endorsing Spectrum. Every time I see their commercials, DC, about how reliable they are, I laugh. So, but anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I'm going to get them out here to see if they can figure it out. But X and DC, you were not on yesterday either. DC, I mean X. Really quick, Patrick Murphy got his team to the Super Regionals. His reward is he gets to play Tennessee, but we played some audio yesterday. He was kind of like a little kid in a candy store, really giddy. How big of accomplishment was that? And add-on question to that, with him getting 1,300 plus win and counting, is it time to memorialize Patrick Murphy statue, name on stadium? What would be an appropriate decision there?
I think first of all, it's a big accomplishment for that team that to make it to the final 16 teams in softball based on the way they played this year. No doubt they played in the toughest league. I think the SEC is the toughest softball league out there. I think Coach Murphy has done a yeoman's job as being the softball coach at Alabama. He definitely deserves some type of recognition. I think this year's team, as a matter of fact, I think it's. I would have not have picked it to make it to the 16, final 16. because of the way they performed during the year. But I think getting bats hot at the right time, and who knows, you go into Tennessee. Tennessee's obviously a great team. We were able to win one game out of a series we played here at home against them. Who knows? We play softball or baseball. Any team can win any given day. Errors play a part in it. Different things can happen. So, did I give Alabama a chance? I'm saying there's a chance. Everything's stacked against them, but I think they got a chance going into Tennessee.
Yeah, they definitely would have to have the bats that they had, but the pitching they'll face in Tennessee will definitely be on the next level compared to what they were smacking. But hey, once that eye finds the ball in baseball, never played softball, you can get on a hot streak hitting the ball because you just see everything, and maybe that can happen for the Tide. Pitching will not be their issue. It'll be whether they can generate enough runs, and Tennessee gives up less than 2 runs a game. So that'll be the ticket there. X, any thoughts on that from you, and then transferred the conversation to, the job that Coach Vaughn has done for this baseball team, getting them a number 7 seed.
Yeah, when you look at what Coach Murphy has done, he definitely needs to be memorialized in some way. I think football has set a precedent of if you win championships, you get a statue. So it'd be pretty cool to see a statue of Coach Murphy out in front of the softball complex, softball field. Then when it comes to baseball, I mean, Bama's got a big road ahead of them to see what they can do in number 7 seed. Well, from where this team was a year ago, you got to give Coach Vaughn his credit and see what the future holds.
Yeah. Hey, DC, I'll let you respond on the other side. We're going to get the break, but be thinking, would it be offensive if there were to be a Nate Oates trophy, statue, and or a football statue of DeBoer erected before Murph got some type of living monument as well? And I'll get your thoughts on Coach Vaughn and the job he's done on the diamond this year, and where do you compare it to what Nate Oates did this past year? We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We're rolling out for this Tuesday morning, free and clear of anything much to get on your way. The trip along 2059 from Foster's out to Cottondale, McFarland from Coker down to U of A and I-20 beyond. You're moving along nicely there. And the drive coming up on 69 from Hale County as well. Very quiet all around the region with no major accidents at this very early hour. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Townsend Nissan. How do you stay number 1 in West Alabama? You do whatever it takes to make you happy. Townsend Nissan, number 1 for a reason on Skyland Boulevard.
This report is sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Rev up your life with a 2024 Kia Forte GT line from Julio Jones Kia. 0 down, sign and drive, it's that easy. For just $299 a month, you can own this sleek beauty. 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year. Explore Tuscaloosa in style. Apple CarPlay, Android Audio, and more, all yours. Lease offer subject to credit approval. Taxes not included. Stock number K8796. VIN number 3KPF5480X RE771137. Julio Jones Kia at 4301 Greensboro Avenue, Tuscaloosa, or 24/7 at buyfromjulio.com.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High Impact Protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code MUSCLE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text MUSCLE to 511-511. Text MUSCLE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather hot and dry today with a good supply of sunshine, the high 90. Tonight mostly clear with a low at 66. Tomorrow and Thursday, the sky partly to mostly sunny both days. Highs between 89 and 92 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 63 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Don't forget about Alabama One, alabama1.org. Go check them out. You can find all the great options that are being offered there. Remember, membership has its privileges, advantages, regardless of where you're located in the state. Alabama One can help you. We have our 27 branches located throughout the state, and we also have our virtual branch, and we can handle everything online there. All you need to do is go to alabama1.org and you can open an account. You can start a loan. You can do all that, and then we can DocuSign and get you your check. You can get that new home, that new auto, that new boat, that new motorcycle, whatever it is you need. That's alabama1.org. We have more services than your typical credit union, and as many or more than your typical bank as well. That's Alabama One together. We're here to serve you and look forward to making you one of our members. Remember, membership has its advantages. All right. All right, DC, as we were going to break there, just had a couple questions for you. We were talking about if Murph if there were to be a statue erected for Nate Oates and what he's accomplished, or another football trophy erected, would that be an offense, a disrespect to Murph if he's not been memorialized?
Well, I think one thing we're forgetting, I think he has been memorialized. Let's remember that. Champions Plaza has a plaque, a bronze plaque with his likeness on it, just like it does Sarah Patterson and a golf coach who won the national championship. So I think each national championship has been memorialized in Champions Plaza with a plaque. Does not have a full statue, of course, like as the football teams. But so I don't see that it would be a disservice if Nate Oates were to win the national championship in basketball and get some type of recognition or statue, or Coach DeBoer will win the national championship this year, which I'm predicting that he will. He gets a statue. I think it would be consistent with how they have honored the coaches before, with some type of memorial recognition, some kind of in honor of their championship. So
I would agree with that if they put him over at that little plaque place. If they put a statue out, I think that would disagree.
That's just the way I think that. Yeah.
All right. I didn't say you were wrong. I just said I disagree. I think it'd be disrespectful if they were to erect a full statue. That's just Martin's opinion.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm just saying I think that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I said, I'm sorry, you were cutting out. It's hard for me to hear you, but I think what you said was, I wouldn't disagree in that you're wrong. I was saying that you're correct. It could be disrespectful. Some people see it that way, but I do think that he has been recognized, and I think Alabama has a consistent pattern of practice of recognizing championships. So I think if Nate Oates wins the championship or Kalen DeBoer wins the championships, and they're recognized in some way with a statue that's been consistent with what they've done with the other football coaches or the other basketball coaches, then I don't see how it would be. I see how it could be, in your opinion, to be a disservice to him. But I still think he has not gone without some type of recognition. But yes, you're correct. His longevity and his continued building of the softball program, especially being the first SEC team to ever win the World Series, I think it has to be recognized at some point with a name on a stadium or on a field or a statue somewhere.
And that's what I would say, something at the complex, not over at the football building, at the basketball building, something over at the actual venue of where he played is, I think, what would be appropriate. But flipping back over to the baseball side of things real quick before we get into some other conversation. Remember, the deal, no deal question of the day is, if you can end the early entrance to the NFL, but you can't limit the transfer portal, could I get a deal out of you? Could I get a deal out of you? So would you take that deal? Close one door, but leave another one that's wide open. Would you take that deal? That's the deal, no deal question. You can call us up at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, and let us know your thoughts. Or you can post your response, deal, no deal, in the live chat. Just really quick, DC, talk to us about what Coach Vaughn has done. And is it on par or even more impressive than what Nate Oates was able to do, considering the lost turnover controversy surrounding the baseball program to even get them to this point this year?
So I think Coach Vaughn's done a great job of getting him to the baseball team based on everything he had to deal with when he came in here. He had to practically, rebuild a roster, and especially with all the stuff that went on with our past coach and the gambling issues and the players not knowing what to think or what to do, whether the interim coach was going to stay or be a head coach. And then with the transfer portal, Alabama's team had some great individual players on it that were just cherry-picked. They just got great deals to go to other places. And so Coach Vaughn comes in, and he has what's left over that's still there. And then he had to rebuild a complete roster with the transfer portal, bringing people in. So I think he's done a fantastic job, especially if you look at what also whether he got here with the injuries. His best pitcher goes out and needs Tommy John surgery after the first outing that he has, and then he gets another injury, and then the food poisoning incident at Mississippi State, where contributed to at least 2 losses, and then just all the things he had to fight uphill to get this team sitting in the 7th position at the SEC tournament, going up against a South Carolina team, which I think they can really compete against. And I think Alabama baseball is in a really great position with Coach Vaughn going forward.
All right. Let's see. We got Pat on the line. Pat, you're in with Xavier and DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Your question of the day. I disagree with the junior deal. I mean, if they're good enough to go on to the NFL, let them go. But something has got to be done with one transfer. And after one transfer, second transfer, you lose a year of either lose a year of eligibility, or you got to sit out a year. But
my question is, you're the coach. Are you taking the deal or not? We're answering. You're answering that question from a fan standpoint and a player standpoint. But the reality of it is, if the coach could do that, would they do it? You're the coach, and you have all your guys jumping in the portal, and you could keep those juniors. Remember, nobody else is doing it either. Nobody else's guys are leaving either. No juniors can leave.
Okay, no juniors could leave.
They can't go to the NFL, but you cannot limit the portal. I know what we say we would do based on the reality of what's happened, but the reality of it is, if that was your choice and you were the coach and you could make that decision, what would you do?
Yeah, if I was a coach, I would say that you limit the transfer portal because so much money and time and effort is spent in recruiting a kid to your school. I mean, Lord goodness, Alabama has spent millions and millions of dollars upgrading facilities and doing things the right way. And then when you look at how much between, Alabama, Georgia, and probably Texas spend more money than the rest of the people do almost combined. So, you got to let the transfer portal business having to, once you recruit a team to your school, and I might as well say recruiting a team to your school, that it's a transfer portal one time, and then they got to go. They lose a year of eligibility or whatever. That's the only thing I think you could do is that limiting the transfer portal, because it's too hard to constantly keep recruiting your team every 5 minutes.
So all right, thanks, Pat. You got anything else before I let you go? And I'm gonna get DC and X's response. Maybe
that's it. That's it on that. Y'all having that's a great topic, but that's where something. This transfer portal this business is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Bad.
All right. So Pat's leaning. Pat's not going to take that deal. Pat's going to flip the deal and say juniors can go, and I'll limit the transfer portal. We'll be back on the other side. Get DC's thoughts, get X thoughts, get your thoughts. You can get in on it at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around. Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Lone Star live Saturday, May 25th, Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center. A night filled with all the hits. Every little thing that you do, baby. On sale now at pearlriverresort.com. Lone Star, Saturday, May 25th, Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center.
No news. Sometimes when you want adventure, you like to take your time getting there. You like to experience the journey as well as the destination. There is no better way to do that than in a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. With 7 drive modes and available intelligent 4-wheel drive, your journey can be filled with many unpredictable twists and terrains. Need to tow some extra fun with you? The Pathfinder has up to 6,000 pounds of towing capacity. The 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Enjoy the ride along the way. Intelligent 4-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capacity varies by configuration. See Nissan Towing Guide and Owner's Manual for additional information. Always secure cargo.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
If you find yourself in a wreck, keep 3 things in mind. First, call the police. Second, take pictures of the scene. Third, call me. I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano, and I'll win. My firm is committed to fighting the big insurance companies and making sure you get the money you deserve. Call today for a free consultation. I don't get paid unless I win for you. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's a Tuesday edition of the program, so that means that we have DC Capstone report in on the program. Got a deal, no deal question of the day. If you can end the early entrance to the NFL, but you can't limit the transfer portal, would you take that deal? That's the deal that's on the table. You don't have, that's the deal. Would you take it? We're talking about it. We had Pat come up and call up and give us his thoughts. You're welcome to get your thoughts in on the conversation. Would you take that deal or not? DC, tell them where they can find you, sir, before we get back into that.
You can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can check me out on Twitter at DavidCott50.
All right, and don't forget to check out one of his other sponsors, Karen Cottingham. Karen Cottingham, she is one of his sponsors, and tell them where they can find her, DC.
Yes, you can find her. She's a realtor here in Tuscaloosa with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. You can always call her for all your real estate needs at 205-887-4008.
All right. Well, DC, Pat gave his thoughts. Initially, he said that he don't know, and then he kind of, when I said, "Oh, well, that's the deal. Everybody has to do it," he still went with he would limit the transfer portal. DC, you started to answer it earlier. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, I would just say that my answer is no deal. I would not take that deal, and I can explain to you why I wouldn't take the deal. I wouldn't take the deal because in your scenario you just mentioned is that you would have unlimited transfers, and the juniors could not go to the NFL. Number one, I wouldn't want to. As a coach, I wouldn't want to restrict my players who to go to the NFL if my whole thing about coming to the University of Alabama would be to make it to the NFL. And number two, even if you restrict them from not going to the NFL, there's no restrictions on transfers, so that doesn't give you you still have to recruit them to stay at your school. They could go to anywhere else and play their final year under unlimited transfers. So I don't think that's good for the team or for college football, and so I would not take that deal.
X.
I'm in line with DC. I wouldn't take that deal because I think that leads to more problems, more disgruntlement on the team. If you got a guy that has a chance to play pro, I mean, we already see guys who are good enough as freshmen and sophomores have a season-ending injury that drops their stock, or a career-altering injury. So I wouldn't want to add another year of guys to that list that could potentially happen to.
Yeah, and I'm taking the deal. Because you guys added things that, hey, they may not be issues, but if it's the rule, it's the rule. So I'm taking it. Now, will that ultimately lead to somewhere down the road where people are saying you're restricting it? Absolutely. But let me take you guys back. DC, when you were in college, how often did guys leave?
They didn't leave very often at all because they had to sit out a year if they transferred somewhere else.
No, I'm talking about how often did guys leave and go to the NFL?
Oh, I would say none.
Virtually none, right?
Virtually none, yeah.
Right. And then when it started to happen, what was the scuttlebutt around college football? Sounds a lot like the transfer conversation, doesn't it?
It was. It was a lot of people saying it was the end of the college football, like it was, and it was lack of academic. No one cared about the kids' education. They were coming there to get an education. They were coming there to just play football. It was a football factory, I think, was the name that was placed on it.
Yep. And people were saying that it was going to be the end. But here's the reason I'm taking the deal is because that's a deal, right? And the players, the players would have here's and I have inside information. The deal is you can either have unlimited transfer portal guys or you have to stay as juniors. I mean, come back as senior. Did that change your opinion? The players make the deal.
No, it doesn't change my opinion. I still don't take the deal.
So if the player said we'll come back for juniors if you allow us to stay and transfer,
I don't think that. Yeah, I still think I agree with X on that. I don't think that makes a good cohesive team. Not for people who are really able to go into the NFL, because what you're asking me to take a deal is on something that I don't know, based on the fact of the information that I already have on how it does help the ones that go to the NFL as juniors and make it big.
There's probably about as many that leave. Used to be until they started realizing they're not going to make it, and so it kind of self-corrected itself in terms of the deal. But if the players came to me, I would take it either way because I'm trying to save my sport, and I think if a guy has to come back for his senior year, he may transfer. Then if he transferred, I'm going to go out and get a senior from somewhere else that had to come back. But that's me. But if the players made that deal, because this is where we're going, if the players keep wanting things, DC, they're going to have to start giving up something. That's what nobody's talking about. And remember, I'm pro player, right? I'm pro player. I want the players to get as much as they can. But I also understand that if they don't make a deal, if they don't start changing some things, they're going to have to start compromising somewhere. If you go with a players association, you're going to share with revenue, does that mean you share with the loss? Does that mean that, okay, in order to give, when it comes to negotiation, you can transfer as many times as you want. But that means that you have to stay your junior year. I guarantee you, which one you think the player's going to take?
Transfer anytime they want to.
You think the players would come back as a senior, or transfer?
No, transfer.
Huh. I figured they'd probably take it the other way because they all think they're going to make it to the pros. Interesting. Which one you think, X? If the players
that's a good question.
If the players had to choose between they can leave as juniors after junior year and go to the league, or have unlimited transfers.
I think unlimited transfers because they want the opportunity if where they end up doesn't pay off to begin with.
So both of you think the players would want the unlimited transfer, but as a coach, you wouldn't choose to keep them as as seniors. That's interesting. You all think the players value the transfer portal more, but you as a coach transfer them going to the league more. Right? Is that what y'all both are saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yes.
I don't get that, but hey, that's just me. I just think.
Well, I would explain it is, Martin, the way you frame the question. If you're asking the players to decide, I think every player. What is the driving force in going to the? What is the driving force in going to the pros, or the driving force in unlimited transfers? Tell me that. What do you think it is?
Money and playing time.
Well, did Caleb Downs go to Ohio State to get more playing time? No, he went to get more money.
Right. That's why I said money or playing time.
Yeah, and he's a player. He's a player that will go as a junior to the pros. All right. So for those players that are in that category, are the ones that we're talking about that would make the decisions, every player thinks they can make money in the pros. All right. If they don't make money in the pros, we know all the players don't make money in the pros. There's only so many limited amount of pro places they can go to make money in the draft, the 7 rounds of the draft. And the lower you are, the less money you make. So if I'm a player and use the driving force and playing time, then you want to be unlimited transfers so you can go get the money while you're in college and get playing time. They're not looking at the fact that a lot of those players who transfer aren't playing. They're looking at the fact of what they could get. That's why I think they would choose that.
I agree with that, and that's why I'm saying. But you're putting more. But you have the choice to let them have that, but have them stay in college for their senior year. That's what I'm saying. Is I get that the players would choose the transfer portal most likely. Because they think that they can go anywhere and get the money while they're still in college. But if I have a choice of whether or not I can keep a guy in college, that at least gives me a chance to keep him on my team. He might transfer, but he might not. That's why
I'm going on the fact that hopefully these young men have people in their team that will give them a good, fair evaluation as to whether or not they're going to make it in the NFL to make any money by going as a sophomore. At least that's what as a coach I would give them. That's what Nick Saban gave them, a fair evaluation. And I think that's why I'm saying I think that's better off for the player and better off for the team if they get that kind of information to decide on whether to go pro. So I would rather, as a coach, keep letting them go pro and stop the transferring.
Yeah. See, you're choosing. I didn't say you could stop the transfer.
Well, I didn't say that. I said I didn't mean to say it that way. I said that, but it didn't come out wrong.
All right.
What I'm saying is I'd rather have them not be able to continue to go to pro, and because I don't think that taking that away from them and giving them unlimited transfers betters the game in any way, or the player.
Right. So to me, I think that part of it is you guys are assuming that you're going to stop the transfer portal. You're not going to stop the transfer portal regardless of this decision. Transfer portal is what it is. And the choice is you can now put a limit on them going to the league or not. And, Virgil said, even if you keep them in college for their senior year, doesn't mean they're going to stay on your team. So you're still having to re-recruit. I'd rather re-recruit a senior than that guy be off in the NFL. Right? I mean, I'd rather be re-recruiting to stay with me than him being off into the league. But here's the thing, and the reason I point this out though, DC and X, it was all the scuttlebutt when guys started leaving early. It's the same. If media was what it was back then, DC, when the Derek Thomases and Keith McCants started leaving early. I remember Keith McCants left after he was in college 3 years, but he was Prop 48. And then he left after 2 years of only playing 2 years on the field. I remember people going, oh my God, they were just all in this uproar. And then you started having more and more guys leave early. And what started happening, DC? Guys started going to the pros and not getting drafted. So it kind of calmed down. I think that the transfer portal, the only hope for the transfer portal right now, unless some rule changes, DC, X, is sooner or later people are going to realize the data of 10 guys go in, 3 come out. I don't know if that's the exact number, but you see what I'm saying? I think the transfer portal is going to self-correct ultimately, not based on what you and I think or what coaches think, but the fact that the players are eventually going to figure out, was it the Roach Motel, DC, where it says the Roach go in, but they don't come out?
But you also have a history there. Your argument is got a history there, also not just in football but in basketball.
Right.
The whole thing in basketball was when they said that when the high school students go to the NBA, well, that was just terrible. You're taking away their education and everything. But what people didn't realize was You can count on two hands the number of high school players that have gone to the NBA. Not the first years, a lot of them tried, but not many of them tried anymore. Why? Because it didn't work out. They didn't get on the roster. They didn't get to play, and so it corrected itself. You're exactly correct. We don't we haven't given this opportunity of time to correct itself.
Yeah. X, any thoughts on that before we get to break?
I mean, I get the point of wanting them to stay in the correction, and it'll happen. It'll happen when the self-correction will happen when it happens. Just kind of got to let it play out, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I would be being, like I said, I wouldn't want to stop them at all. But if I was offered this deal, I would take it. I mean, because the only people who can offer this deal right now are the players. The NCAA has no power, no gut. So this would be the players saying, we're willing to come back another year if we keep the unlimited transfer portal. I'd take the deal and then deal with the consequences and then find myself 5 years from now fighting for them to go back into the pros. So, but anyway, as we go to break here, Mike from Opelika said, I'm all for naming something after Coach Murphy. Oh, this is wrong. He said, but please don't name the batting cage after him. That's so wrong. And then J. Rob said, no deals. Those junior players that didn't get the NIL deal they wanted would just sit out their senior year, like he said Parsons did his junior year. Maybe not. If it's the rule, it's the rule. That's the thing. Guys sit out their junior year now, or after injuries for different reasons. And then I'm finishing out Virgil's thoughts and comments. So I'm going the opposite route where we limit the number of times that someone can transfer to one time and keep letting the juniors go as we have been, because you're only going to lose a few juniors to the draft. This portal thing, we're losing way too many people. So I'm going to go I'm going the opposite way. I'm going with DC and X on this. That wasn't part of the deal, though. The deal wasn't that you could limit it to one. The deal was you either get the NFL or you keep it as it is today. That was the deal. And so I would take it, too, if I could limit it to one transfer. But we'll keep it conversation going. We got some thoughts. We'll get some rapid fire with DC. I got a follow-up question that you guys noodle on, DC. I'll let you answer it since we'll probably answer it this week. Which one would destroy college football first, the NIL or the transfer portal? So we may not have that till next week, but we may talk about it some this week. So I'll let you respond on that as well, DC.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, eastbound 2059 from Foster's to McFarland Boulevard, clocking in at an easy 9-minute trip. On the westbound side from Cottondale to the 359 interchange, that's 8 minutes there. And along McFarland from Coker down to Jack Warner, expect 15 minutes with no major accidents or breakdowns or particularly heavy backups brewing yet into and out of the T-Town region. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. Governor Ivey has again authorized Juneteenth, the day commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S., as a state holiday, while legislative efforts to make it a permanent holiday in the state have failed so far. Ivey's office says June 19th will be a holiday for state workers, coinciding with the federal holiday. Juneteenth has been a federal holiday since 2021. This will be the fourth year that Ivey has designated it as a state holiday. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Townsend Nissan. How do you stay #1 in West Alabama? You do whatever it takes to make you happy. Townsend Nissan. #1 for a reason on Skyland Boulevard.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-240-8157. 800-240-8157. 800-240-8157. That's 800-240-8157.
Help! I have ordered too many new Nissans. Townsend Nissan's inventory overload sale is underway now with offers like this. $2,000 instant savings on every Nissan Kicks and Nissan Sentra in stock. New Nissan Altimas, the midsize family sedan, $3,000 off and rates as low as 1.9. And yes, everybody needs a truck like the new V6 Frontier, starting at only $29,990. Wow, that's low. New Armadas, the full-size SUV with discounts up to $8,000. And yes, Townsend Nissan wants and needs your trade today. Shop Townsend Nissan.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's been a fun morning, DC. DC, what would you ask for to limit the portal?
What would I ask for to limit the portal?
Yeah, you're negotiating with the players. What would you ask them for?
Yeah.
What would you ask them for?
It had to be some type of negotiation on some type of money. It's the only thing that's going to make this revenue sharing, some type of revenue sharing that's equal, or not equal, but across the board based on a hierarchy. It can't be anything else, because there's nothing else that's available that they can do.
What would you ask them to give up? Is what I'm saying. What would you ask them to give up?
Right
now, the players are fully in control of college football.
They got everything. Yeah,
Right.
All the bargaining powers in there. It would have to be the right to transfer. I'd ask them to give up the right to transfer multiple times. One-time transfer, like the old rule, sit out a year.
Yeah. it's they have clear control, so it's pretty awesome. X, I'll ask you that question on tomorrow. DC, how open is the SEC? I mean, if you look at this SEC rule right now, and I told you earlier, 30-something offensive defensive coordinators, 32 amongst the 16 teams, only 10 guys returning out of all of those positions. If you don't count the head coach at Vanderbilt, 11 counting him.
That's just a crazy stat, isn't it? Think about would that be
two-thirds of the second and third guy in command outside the head coach changed this past year.
Yeah. And do you know the number of people that went on to head coaching jobs out of that group?
I don't.
I don't either. I mean, I was just thinking that
most of them didn't.
Most of them did not, did they?
Right.
Yeah. And so but it's like open season on trying to compete. It's hard to compete within this group, isn't it? I mean, outside of Vanderbilt, everybody's on a pretty good level of competition.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about. So with that said, DC, which coach in the SEC with changes, transfer portal, NIL, et cetera, is on the hot seat, or coaches?
I would say, I know you're going to laugh, but I think Hugh Freeze is on a little of a hot seat. I think it was hot when he got there. It hadn't gotten much better unless he does something big this year, in my opinion. I know people say, well, he's going to give him more time, but I think the days of giving more time is gone by the wayside in the SEC. It's win now or go home.
Do you think the board's success heats that up, especially if we come into that game heading toward the playoffs. And go ahead.
Most definitely, because DeBoer has gotten more headlines in the offseason in his recruiting than Hugh Freeze has, and Hugh Freeze had much more time to get his recruiting down pat. So I think, and if the more success DeBoer has, fast success, the hotter Hugh Freeze's seat gets, in my opinion.
On the,
I think the other guy that's got a hot seat is the Florida coach. I love him to death, but Florida's not going to stand for another losing or mediocre season. And when you look at their schedule, I don't see how he survives.
Right. And would you put Lane Kiffin on the SEC level in the same boat as Ryan Day on the national level because of all of his NIL and transfer portal money?
Yeah, I think the way the transfers and the way he's built his team, he's pretty much. I think Ryan Day is above everybody. He's on the top of everybody. Either he wins or he gets fired. He wins the national championship or he gets fired. But I definitely think that Lane Kiffin's model on how he's built a team is on display for all to see, whether it works this year or not. If he doesn't win this year, it comes into question.
That's what I was going to say, but I don't think he has to win a national. Does he have to get to Atlanta? And the question is, where would Ole Miss go to get better than Lane, though? I think he has to get at least into the championship, not game, but the playoff. I think if he gets in the playoff, that would be a success. If he doesn't, what happens? I don't know where they go. I don't think they make a change this year. I just think it calls into question. I don't think who could they get better than Lane Kiffin to go to Ole Miss? Really, nobody. That was my point. So, hey, DC, real quick, on tomorrow we're gonna have a Would You Rather question. Would you rather coach Bryant's prime era or in the Saban era, in the prime of Saban's era? Would I rather coach, or do I like that? Which era do I like better? Which era would you like? If you're the coach, would you rather coach where there was unlimited scholarships and all of that, or in the Saban era where there's limited scholarships but more resources, etc.? I'd rather coach Bryant's era. The way Coach Bryant won was taking everybody that everybody else wanted that he didn't want them to have, and the reason I say that is I know so much about him based on my work at the Bryant Museum. But that man had a plan, and he was head and shoulders above coaches in that day. And so how to organize. And to your point, he took a different approach than everybody else and was able to win. Saban did likewise with his system. Yes. Who's going to be the new system guy in this new era? There will be a coach who figures it out and dominates, just like every other era you can find. We'll have a Would You Rather on tomorrow. That's DC Capstone Report. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That's Justin Jones. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. Hey, guys, I wouldn't want to take away the guy's ability to go to the NFL, but if I have to make a choice, stay for your senior year and keep transferring. I'd rather recruit you as a returning senior than not have an option. We'll talk more about it on tomorrow right here on your home for Alabama Sports Talk, 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding, and always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
It's a celebration.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for